Well, you can't get much more Canadian than that, can you? Two guys sitting by their guitars, singing the good old hockey game by one of the best, Stompin' Tom Connors. How you guys doing? What's going on out there? Welcome to the Black Aces podcast. Yes, I am Laptop Hound, normally streaming out of the park baseball. And I noticed I did not take that tag off. It should say sports. So I will do that in a couple minutes here. So welcome all in. Before we get going and bringing the panel in, of course, Out of the Park Baseball, Out of the Park Developments also creates the best simulation hockey game on the market. Franchise Hockey Manager. Right now, you can get Franchise Hockey Manager for $22.74 Canadian, which works out to about $19.99 American. The newer version will be coming out in a month or so, and we will probably be able to give away some copies of FHM10 once that becomes available. So again, welcome all in. This is our 6th episode of the Black Aces NHL podcast. Let's get this ball rolling. All right, bringing the panel in, we have, of course, from Montreal, Quebec, Mr. Lanky Frank. How you doing, Frank? Except you're mute there, so you're probably singing in the background.
Oh, I said I'm good. I'll be doing a lot of this for the next 20 minutes because somebody starting at 9:30 decided to start at 9, so Habs are actually winning 2-1. So.
All right, so if you see Frank a little distracted, is Montreal Canadiens in the only game of the night tonight. When we decided on a day of the week to do this podcast, Frank said, well, let's do it Mondays. There's not many games on Mondays, and yes, that's true. Just so happens tonight his Canadians are playing the Buffalo Sabres.
It was supposed to be 9:30 on Mondays. Last two times you put it at 9. But that 9 is bad because
it's 20 minutes early. You get to go to bed a little earlier tonight, Frank. There you go. All right.
Game. The rest.
All right. Next week, we're back to our usual time at 9:30 Eastern.
And by the way, the reason there's only one game tonight and only one game on Wednesday is there's this ESPN thing where all the games are staggered every 15 minutes. Tomorrow, all teams are playing tomorrow. There's 16 games, 32 teams in action tomorrow.
Oh, wow. Every team is on the deck tomorrow.
Okay. Starts at 6, I think, and there's a game going to start every 15 minutes. All the games can be seen on all the ESPN channels. So like the Habs are supposed to start at 7, but the puck drop is at 7:25. I think Winnipeg is 6:45. Like every 15 minutes, a game's gonna start. Boom, 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 boom. Like
wow,
they did this special. It's like Hockey Day in Canada. Well, this is ESPN's night where they put all the games on all their ESPN channels. So that's why there's one game tonight, 16 tomorrow, and 1 on Wednesday.
So do they start like at noon, or is it just regular kind of 7 p.m.?
At 6, and there's 4 games that's going to start every hour. So 6, 7, 8, 9, all the way to 9:45, I guess, or 10.
Wow. That's pretty cool, actually. It'd be better if it was on the weekend and they did it throughout the whole day kind of thing every 15 minutes.
Yeah,
that would be cool.
Hockey Day in Canada, that's what they do. It's 2, 5, 8, or 1, 4, 7, and 10. And I think it's Hockey Day in Canada. But but tomorrow it's pretty cool. So if those that didn't know, I just found out. What I heard something about all teams playing, but then I heard the details today that it was because of this ESPN thing, which starts every 15. So pretty cool. So as of tomorrow, every 15 minutes, you get another start.
And even Pop Stongoria, even the Sharks will play. And yeah, we do have we do have baseball going on. So might not have as many views tonight because we do have game 6 or 7 of the playoffs. I think game 6 with Arizona playing. So a little bit distracted there. Frank's going to be watching some Montreal Canadiens. One person who does not have his team playing, is a guy that's been away for a couple of weeks. You might remember him from an earlier podcast. Welcome back to the podcast, Old Man Fred. How you doing, Old Man Fred?
Oh, I survived the last 2 weeks of moving. The infamous quote is, the next time I move, I won't be helping. Somebody will be lifting me because I'll be in a box. It's just the way it goes, right? It's holy heavens. Yeah, it's been something, man. But, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. So I guess that's why the Leafs keep losing. They get so much stronger. Well, it didn't work there. But, yeah. So anyway, that's the way it is. And Leo Remus is right. I was going to say the same thing. You can't, Glennie, you showed your Canadianism by saying, let's do it on the weekends. Are you kidding? Saturday is college ball and Sunday's NFL. So there's no way. The NHL is very wise that way. Even on Mondays, like Frank said, when there's not too many games. Again, why not? Because you're competing with Monday Night Football. So the NHL is wise. They're aware of what they are. And,
I don't think the NHL is not wise because they're never wise. It's ESPN. ESPN is wise.
There you go. Maybe I was giving it to the wrong place. Absolutely. So there you go. So
and I have to give you some credit, Old Man Fred. I got to tell you a story.
Uh-oh.
So my nearly 80-year-old mother watches these podcasts every week, and she came on a couple weeks ago, and you weren't there.
Yeah.
So I said, Mom, do you watch the podcast? And she says, yeah, but it was kind of boring because Old Man Fred wasn't there.
Well, shout out to her. You know what? It's nice to get a little love because Lord knows I don't get it from this panel, especially Lanky Frank. Thank you very much. So.
Well, I'm glad your demographic is what it is.
The man does not miss a beat. He does not miss a beat. There you go.
So she may want your autograph at some point, but she can't see very well either. So there is that.
Yeah. Those were usually the kind of girls I dated in high school too. So that's good. The ones I couldn't see very well. So
how do you think he met his wife, man? She couldn't see anything far.
I thought it was on eBay. I thought he won an auction on eBay, but maybe
I must have won something. I think, yeah, for sure.
And boiled egg, the hat that I'm sporting tonight, because we got our first snowfall in Alberta yesterday, and there's still snow on the ground where I am. Winter is here, so I'm donning as the Canadians say, the toque. And I just happened because I know I wanted to cheer you up, boiled egg. You're a big supporter of the channel. You're probably feeling down a little bit because the lowly Montreal Canadiens beat you yesterday or the day before. How does that happen? How does Montreal beat Washington and Ovechkin? Frank, did Washington give it a valiant effort?
No. They're out of sorts. I don't know. It's like I don't know what's happening with Washington right now. They're not playing coherent hockey. There's no spark. There's no willingness to win in Washington right now. Even Ovechkin is just gliding, and he had his best game against Montreal, but he's gliding, and they got to wake up and figure out that the season has started, basically. So we'll see what happens. So yeah, Lake says they're still in preseason mode. No, they're in rookie camp mode. Preseason is be a little bit more competitive.
Yeah. Well, we got a lot to go through, and usually we start at 9:30. The last couple of weeks, because we haven't had the full panel, we went a half hour earlier. But next week, for those that coming in a little bit later, next week we'll be on at 9:30. Finn will be back, and it's a good thing Finn is missing tonight because the heated exchange in our private chat between Lanky, Frank, and Finn about the Oilers. Woo! you could melt the hardest steel with that fiery chat that was going on. So I'm sure
we're going to talk about it next. We're going to talk about it next week because I want everybody in the chat to chime in. We can do like a viewer opinion and see where everybody stands on that. But
right,
yeah. But
well, we will cover it a little bit tonight because it is in the news with the McDavid injury. So we will talk about that a little later. But let's get on with the program here. The Montreal Canadiens. Frank will be distracted for another 7 minutes and 57 seconds while his Canadians are trying to defeat the 36 shot on goal Sabres. Wow, the Sabres are having their way.
20 more than the Habs. Jake Allen is saying, "Hey, I'm Carey Price today."
Yeah. So yes, a little love, boiled egg for the Washington Capitals. They were one of my favorite American teams at one point. I love the old man, Fred, you're probably with me on this with the old Washington Capital jerseys, the one with the stars, and then the one they had with the eagle.
The Screaming Eagle, which they brought back as a third jersey last year or the year before. I can't remember. Something similar to that. But yeah, certainly the original one was very classy, I thought. For sure.
Mike Gartner, Mike Bullard, I think played on that team. Of course, Olaf Kolzig, and they've had some good players. Yeah, over the years. All right, guys. First thing, as we always do to start the show, our favorite logo as we go through the franchises. Last week we picked Calgary. We're on to Carolina. Of course, Carolina came over from Hartford. I was sad. I loved Hartford. I loved the rivalry with the Canadians, with the Nordiques. Fred, we'll start with you. What are you thinking in terms of logo? Do you prefer the old Whalers, the New England Whalers, or do you kind of like what they got going on now? What are you thinking, old man Fred?
Oh, well, if it's up to me, then I'm definitely going with the 80-92. I like a bigger logo. As was pointed out, there's an H in there. Who knew there was an H? And I always saw the W, but didn't see the H. Classy. Love the colors as well, although that's kind of a shout out to the Vancouver Canucks because as I'm looking at it, I'm thinking of the Canuck colors.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't see that before. But, and also, there's a local, fantastic, by the way, in Edmonton, when we're doing some kind of thing, I'm going to bring it up, but we have a local sports station that just started up in September. And the guy who owns the station plays on Fridays. He calls it Positive Fridays, and he plays the Bronze Bonanza and every Friday. And it used to be the song that the Hartford Whalers skated out to. And it is not your normal hockey song. And I'll tell you, every Friday I look forward to the Bronze Bonanza. So Hartford, I heard I don't know, I was never there. I heard they played in a mall or something like this. Like they're quite a legendary team anyway. So love the logo 80-92.
Pretty cool. All right. So the Hartford Whalers song. The Hartford Whalers song. Is it let's see if I can is it this one?
Yep, that's it. There we go. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I remember that song really well too. So I'm going to go with you. I'm going to give my selection right away. That's my favorite logo. I agree with what Chat's saying about the gray. Destroyed it. Looks too boxy.
Yeah.
You still see the H, but I think when I was a kid watching Hartford, I never realized that H was there.
Yeah, neither.
And now you can't not see it.
Not see it.
And Carolina Hurricane, of course. You got to change the logo up. But Frank, is it unanimous, the 80-92?
Oh, of course. It's the classic. It's their heyday. So, when you try to mess with something that is so good, sometimes you're changing just to change, and it's just stupid. So I hope everybody's seeing the whale tail. I hope, because
Oh yeah.
I'm getting worried about you two.
You mean that's not a mustache? I thought that was for the old 80s mustaches. No?
There's an H in the Habs logo, so there's also an H there. It's not
Very classy.
It's only.
And then they got the butt cheeks. They got the butt cheeks at the bottom. There you go.
So
you cannot
anyway,
unsee
so yeah,
it.
it's a beautiful logo. And when their uniform were green, that was the best.
Oh, yeah, the green uniforms. Yeah, Hartford. And, of course, I always remember Gordie Howe as a Hartford Whaler with the WHA and playing with his two sons. But that green uniform, let's see if I can find a quick picture of it.
It was awesome. It was awesome.
Yeah, this one right here. And I think the Carolina Hurricanes had used that as a pay an homage to them as a third jersey at one point. I think the green uniform, but yeah, there it is right there. It's changed a little bit over the years, but there's old Gordie, and they added it to this kind of blue.
We can't see anything.
Oh, well, I can see.
Yeah, but you're not sharing. You're not sharing. Everybody's seeing the three.
It's PNS.
Imagine it in your head. Imagine the screen. Yeah, the
like the Leafs winning
the screen. The share screen just went off. Here you go. Sorry about that, guys. There you go. There's the beautiful jersey.
Oh,
there you go.
Yeah.
But the blue, I don't like the change they made to the blue there. I don't know when they did that, but
probably when they changed they put the gray in, but the green was even the lighter green was solid that you see down below. That was fire. So that's the uniform that beat the Habs all the time, even though the Hartford sucked. I think Quebec had 31 points one year. I think like 10 of them was against Montreal, and the Whalers sucked too, and they always find a way to beat us. It was frustrating.
And those goalie masks. I don't know who this goalie is, but the old Cooper stick and the
Jim Rutherford, maybe? I don't know who 35 would be, but I know he played for them.
Sidorkowitz, maybe?
What?
Yeah. Sidorkowitz, or was he later?
I don't know. Got to turn around.
Looks like, is that Bernie Federico over there? Number 10? Did he play? I think he played for Hartford, didn't he? Didn't he get traded at one point to Hartford?
Let me go look.
I don't know. They all look the same there. So, yeah, the Hartford logo, it is unanimous. We are all going with the original, the classic logo from the 1980s. All right, Frank, your hockey game has about 3.5 minutes to go. Montreal Canadiens still sporting a 2-1 lead. So let's go on to the next little topic of conversation. And
Federico didn't play for the Whalers, so it's not him.
Oh, he didn't? Oh, okay. All right. So last week's highlights, old man Fred, the season's just about 2 weeks old now. What is your what are you noticing around the league in the first 2 weeks that you're watching? Any kind of highlight from the last week or from the season in general?
I'll be honest with you. I've been very non-hockey, and it makes me wish that I was Frank because I could be watching hockey and doing that kind of stuff. So it's been a tough week, tough couple of weeks with the move. You know what? The thing that, and I know it's going to sound like a rant, and let's be honest, I like my rants, but is the people losing their shit, if you will, over the records and the things along those lines. I mean, right now, when I look at the records, the Red Wings are 5-1. Well, they must be Stanley Cup contenders. Try not to laugh when I say that. Come on, people. Everybody expected the Oilers to be 5-1, maybe 6-0. Yes, kudos to Vegas. So what I've noticed is Vegas is bucking the trend, because usually the trend is, you go late into the NHL playoffs and in this case win the cup. you're suffering a little bit, come October.
You did not watch last week, man. You did not watch us last week. I know that for a fact.
No, I didn't. Are you kidding? I had no time to do anything. So
I
I don't know
talked about
if did that come up then? Is that what you guys were talking about?
Yes. I told Glenn I'm going to trash all three of you, the two absentees plus you, Glenn, because you all said something about Stanley Cup hangover. But I said, you have to have the ingredients for it. And Mark Stone didn't play one game during the regular season. The goalies, the Thompson at 37 games, the Aiden at 27 games. All of Jonathan Marchessault and all the players don't have mileage on their leg. Eichel, nobody has mileage. Either they started their career later, or Eichel's case, they missed so much time that there was not the ingredients for. Usually you have to have a goalie that had 85 games during the year. Yeah. They had a guy with 50,
For sure.
So I said, you have to, analyze, like, are all the ingredients there for a Stanley Cup hangover? And I said, and why was it applied for Vegas when all three of you had Florida in your top 5 teams in the East? Because they didn't win. They don't have a hangover. It's like, and they lost 2 of their top defensemen, the top 2 defensemen, for maybe half a year. But they were in the top 5, whereas Vegas had the Stanley Cup hangover. And so we talked about that last week. So, but even with that, they're the first team ever to go 6-0.
6-0. Yeah. And I think they deserve respect for that, for sure, right? And and the other thing that came back, and I remember, and I didn't think I picked Florida very high, but maybe I did. I can't remember now. It's been weeks, but I know I said the Bruins. I had them as kind of the last team to make the playoffs in the East, and I said because they're sneaky bastards. Well, they're 5-0, and the Bruins win. They just have that winning tradition, it seems, and God bless them for it. So what's been some surprises? Certainly some disappointments, and we're really feeling it locally with the Oilers, but also some pleasant surprises. Personally, anytime an original 6 does better than expected, I like it. I hate Montreal not doing well. It's been hard last year. I'm not good with it, and I'm not a huge Montreal fan, but Montreal's royalty. I've always said that. And why? Because I grew up in the 70s. Who was the team? Montreal. So nice to see the Red Wings not be, sucking. Chicago's doing a little bit better as well. They've surprised. They've had a couple of wins. Everybody, raises an eyebrow. So those have been my surprises. Some wins, but don't, let's not say the Red Wings are Stanley Cup contenders or, anybody is at this time. We are truly a little better than 10 days in, and that's not much right there.
Yeah.
So, there you go.
And again, remember last year, the surprise team that did maintain it throughout the year was the New Jersey Devils. And New Jersey is my good story, I guess, for this episode here. Of the last week, the beginning of the season. This kid here, Jack Hughes, he has come into his own from what we've seen so far. He's, got 4 goals, 6 assists, 10 points. He's, I think, 3rd or 4th in scoring in the league. I know it's early, and I know you can't give awards out early, but at this rate, he's got to be in contention for the Hart Trophy. He's got to be amongst the top 3 or 4 players. I mean, the goals that he's scoring, the leadership he's exhibiting, I just see this as his huge breakout year. And Frank, you called it. I remember you said Jack Hughes last year. He said, "Watch out for this kid."
100 points, and the loser that I am, man, he only got 99. A fucking bum. So
in honor of Wayne Gretzky, yes.
So welcome to the club. A year late, but Jack Hughes and. This is where you see, I don't know if you have the year by year of his stats, but like everybody talking about the rookies, they're not doing well. This guy had 21 points in 61 games, followed up with 31 points in 56 games. It's like the first 2 years were awful. First pick overall, oh my God. It's like, relax, man. There's late birthdays, there's early birthdays. He was Early birthday. But then look at that, 56, but only in 49 games. Still a flew under the radar because when I told you guys under points, everybody laughed.
Yeah. He
So
was. I heard that term "bust." After that second year, that was floating around amongst some NHL people that Jack Hughes was a bust, and he's proven it now why he was the number one overall pick. And again, I don't get a chance to see him. He plays out east, but again, the vision he has, the IQ that he has,
he's
stick handling, as you can see here, and of course, those are the best jerseys, those Christmas jerseys.
Yeah.
And what's going to differentiate New Jersey versus Carolina is Carolina is deep. They're 3-line deep in terms of scoring, but when you're in the playoffs, when you need a goal, they have no go-to. You can't need a goal by committee. You have to have that special superstar, and that's what Jack Hughes is now. He's that special guy, McDavid, Sidney, Gino, Ovechkin, like PK in the playoffs against Boston. We need a goal. He went around the freaking zone 3 times before scoring. Game changers. Carolina doesn't have that. They have good all over. They don't have superstar. And if you're playing well, 1, 2, 3, 4, and you're scoring early, that works fine. When you're behind, it's hard to click it on and go get that goal. So that's what's going to help New Jersey versus Carolina. I hesitated for my Stanley Cup pick between the two. Because I bet on Jack, because if they're going to need a goal late in the game, he's going to get it. Aho needs help to go get it, etc. So, that's the big difference. And you need those game changers. And I don't know if you saw what Quinn Hughes did in his game on the weekend, but man, he controlled the puck like there was no other, And that's what you need sometimes. That guy who's just, it's like he scotch tapes the puck to his stick,
So, Frank, anything for you this last week? Any kind of surprises?
Yes.
What do you got for us?
So, you mentioned a little wink to Detroit. There's 4 teams that are undefeated as per the new standings. But Detroit, man, the Brinkat. My God, 8 goals in 6 games. Come on, man. He redefines a player that is on fire. Needless to say, he's a leading scorer in goals. So him and Larkin. There was an interview between the two because they played summer league together. And that's the advantage of having 2 local boys. They're both from Detroit. So they played summer league together, and they just clicked. They were scoring. And at one point, the Brinkat goes to Larkin and he goes, "Hey, man, you think this is going to translate in the NHL as a joke?" And Larkin goes, "We'll see." And obviously, it is translating. The problem is the opposition is going to cue in that's the only line working in Detroit, because opposite of Carolina, lines 2, 3, and 4 are not working at all. So once they cue in, are they going to be able to produce with all the focus like Jack is producing with the focus? That's what separates a very good player from a star player. It's like even with the focus, they can still produce. So we'll see what happens. Larkin is still developing, he's 27, but he's like injuries. So we'll see. But the Brinkat, man, what a start. So that's my hats off to the Brinkat. That's the player Ottawa was hoping to get last year. But in hockey, chemistry is so important. So when you find that guy, it's like any relationship, you're looking for that guy who gets me. Well, that's what's happening with the Brinkat. So yes, boiled egg, Detroit will sink. Of course it will, but I don't care, man. They're still 5-1, and the Brinkat still has 8 goals in 6 games. So he's going to go back to 40. My other negative surprise, and we talked about it last week, is Seattle. They didn't have a win, but I think they only won 1. So they're 1-4-1. And now injuries again. They lost. What's his name? He's week to week. I can't remember his name. Ex-Ass player, but they're in big trouble, and they don't have like the Oilers, the superstars to say, hey, turn it on, And I mentioned it last week. You weren't here, old man Fred, but I said like they surfed on career years and very high shooting percentage across their lineup. Right. McCann had 19% shooting percentage. He was second in the NHL to Kuzmensko. And it's like, but they had that everywhere. And like everybody went like this. If everybody comes back to earth.
Yeah.
And that's what's seeming to happen right now. They had a 7-goal game. And they have 11 goals for the year. So they played 6 games.
Yeah.
They have 11 goals. And they have 1 victory where they scored 7. So do the math for the 5 games that are left. That's less than a goal per game. Okay. So they're in trouble, like big time trouble. So that's my thing. And we looked at their schedule last week, and I said, man, they have to do something. They got a win at least, but like they have 3 points in 6 games.
Yeah, I mean. Only Anaheim, the Islanders, the Blues, the Sharks, and the Capitals have less goals than the Kraken. So Capitals, again, just one of those. I knew they wouldn't be, great, but I thought they'd be better than what they're showing. I mean, they do have a win. Looks like they have an overtime loss too, but 6 goals in 4 games. And Ovechkin again, just
-9, man. It's like
-9 goal differential.
Yeah.
But again, it's only 6 games. All right, let's move on to the next topic here. Let's keep rolling and talk a little bit about the rookies. And I know, old man Fred, you said you haven't had a chance to watch a lot of the games. I'm sure you've heard the Bedard hype and probably seen some of the highlights.
Yeah.
Tied with Logan Cooley, Ridley Gregg from Ottawa. But in terms of first goals scored, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. We've got, close to 20 players, rookies, that have their first goal already. And I can't remember a season where so many rookies have come out of the gate and scored their first goal this early. The question is, and we'll start with you, old man Fred, from what you have seen, is Bedard a lock for the Calder? Or do you think he's got some competition?
Oh, I think there's some competition, but the problem with the lock is McDavid was a lock, and then he missed 40 some games, or perhaps 50. Crap happens. It's sad, but it's true. The Oilers are still looking for a rookie of the year, and they for a franchise, and they've never had one. So, and they thought McDavid was that. So yeah, I've seen the kid play. It's amazing to me. And because I am old man Fred, I guess this is going to be the case. He looks like a kid from one of my grade 10 classes that I would teach. Like he's just so young, right? And as was expressed by Hall, who also was a first overall pick. Hall was kind of, I didn't catch all of it, but it sounded like Hall was, kind of warning people to kind of back off on the kid, and playing the big brother kind of thing. And I don't think this kid needs it. I really don't. I think he is all that in a bag of chips. It's cool to see some other names in there, the kid from, and again, I apologize for names, but the kid from Ottawa. Haven't watched too many Ottawa games. But even Calgary, God help us all, has a rookie there.
Coronado,
who looks real, so it's an exciting time, and it's good for the kids in the sense that I know that they do. Bedard is a different kind of kettle of fish, but these other kids that are making it, good on them. And of course, you see a last name like Luke Hughes, see that Hughes last name, and it's good to see him up in the top 10 as well. So
have you had a chance to see
stuff? I just having trouble with this kid. My Maple Leaf brethren are all excited about him and think he's all that. And I'm hoping he didn't get rushed too quickly. I don't know. I'm not seeing what others are seeing, so
Well,
But
Leo in the chat is drinking the Kool-Aid.
okay, there you go. So maybe he's something, but and I hope he is, because God knows we need it. But we'll see.
Well, to be fair, the last game against Tampa Bay, he had 3 points. So I mean, it's still early, but if this is an indication, if he's rolling now and he continues to put up points on the board, yeah, the first 4 games he really didn't do much, but again, rookies sometimes take 10, 15, 20 games to get going. We saw Jack Hughes in his first season didn't really have a great season. So for a rookie to have 2 goals like Bedard and this Poitras.
Well, and the other thing with rookies is, you noticed his time on ice, right? It was less than 15 minutes, and that was the most.
That's what I don't get. Stop with this crap, man. If you don't get power play, if you don't get time, you don't produce. So Nice has no chance of being rookie of the year. I don't care what Leo says. I don't care what you say. He's got 3 points in 1 game. Oh, wow, great. But there's no ice time. What separates a 50-point player from a 70-point player is 20 power play points.
And you can bet Bedard, that scaffolding on that is going to have everything Frank just said, right? He's going to have all that stuff. And in Toronto, it's not going to happen.
Yeah, Logan Cooley has it. Luke Hughes.
What's going on with this Coronado, Frank? Is he on the power play and stuff in Calgary? Like, do you know?
He's on the power play, but he's not getting a lot of ice time. But he is on the first power play as of the last game. He started the year with 19, 20 minutes. Then he went down. It's rookie.
Oh, okay. Wow, a lot of minutes then. Yeah.
Yeah, he did play a lot of minutes his first 2 games, but then it went down. So one thing to look at when you look at rookies is their ages. Okay, that makes a big difference. And Connor is the only rookie when the last puck drops in the NHL season. He's the only one that will still be 18 years old.
Wow.
That's how young he is. You have late birthdays, early birthdays. Like Adam Fantilli is almost a full year. He's going to turn 19 very soon. He has turned 19 in October. What's his date of birth?
Yeah,
12th of October or 12th of October. See, he's already 19. Bedard is going to finish the year at 18. Leo Carlson is also going to be, he's not 18 now, but he's going to turn 19 before the season is over. So you have these late birthdays, early birthdays are very, very important. Like Brady Tkachuk was a late birthday. He was older for his age. It's December. He's going to turn 19. So he's almost half a year older than Connor Bedard. So that you have to keep that in mind. Connor Bedard and his career is going to have 1 extra year than Fantilli of playing time.
Yeah.
So Frank, to continue the rookie talk and talking about, is it a lock barring injury and things like that? Logan Cooley, I think, is probably the best bet to challenge Bedard.
You do you? Because when we did our show, and old man Fred remembers that you were all Fantilli, all of you, and I said, no, guys. Logan Cooley has the best chance of being the second leading scorer. And you all went, Luke Cool. So funny that after the fact, 2020 vision, Logan Cooley exists. And I knew it because he's a year older. He played in the NCAA an extra year from his draft year, and that makes a difference. He played against older. It's not like the American League. But he comes in And his D+1 year, his development was sky high. See, like Ridley Gregg is 21. You know,
Oh,
so all that you have to put that in the equation. But Ridley Gregg is not an offensive dynamo. He's a two-way center. He's like the Shane Pinto, and that's what, you know. Now he's playing line 2 because Norris was injured and Pinto wasn't signed, but Norris is back, so now he's going to be a third-line center. And if Pinto gets signed, he's either going to the AHL or he's going to play fourth line. He's going to switch to the wing. So you have to cool your jets. Like Poitras might stay beyond 9 games. So a lot of these players are going back. Like Zach Benson is going to go back probably after 9 games. Poitras, it will depend. Boston, they really need the centers. But a lot of these guys, even though they're starting well, they're going to go back down to juniors before they play their 10th game. So it's in the bag for Bedard, barring injuries. It's not even close. And Cooley will be the second leading scorer because we saw Leo Carlson get healthy scratched yesterday because that's a plan. He's staying for the year, but they want him to be good for the second half because in Europe, they don't play a lot of games. NCAA, they don't play a lot of games. So they say, okay, back-to-backs, we'll rest him, and we want him to become stronger. So he's got to go in the gym. That's why when players go to the NCAA, they develop physically easier because there's less games. So they're taking it easy. So that takes him out of the running in terms of Rookie of the Year because he's going to miss maybe 10 games in the first half of the season. I don't know exactly what the plan is. But the one that could surprise everyone is Luke Hughes. Because if he gets first power play over Hamilton, forget about it. You saw the pass between brothers during a game. That can be a special connection. And he doesn't have to score as much to be considered as a defenseman. So that might be a lot more exciting than the Ford race, which is not going to be a race, you know. So.
Well, you were right, Frank, and I'm glad the Canadians won tonight because you are in such a delightful mood when the Canadians win. So I'll give you credit. You did call Logan Cooley. I thought Fantilli would get, more power play time. He did. He is on the power play. He does have 1 power play point, but yeah, just on that team.
Well, preseason, we talked about then old man Fred had this rant, and I also ranted on the preseason where everybody gets excited. Preseason, Fantilli's playing with Liney. First line, and we hear, they're clicking together. Remember the joke I said about Bedard and who's going to play with them, blah, blah, blah? The season starts, Fantilli's third line, second power play. Soon as the season starts, Benson was on the first line. Everybody, oh my God, Benson. And then boom, he's on the third line. But they put Tuck back. And Buffalo made a mistake because they're awful this year so far. They just lost to Montreal again, so they're in deep trouble. They're 2-4, but they didn't use the preseason to have everybody play together. So they're still in preseason mode. Tage Thompson, their superstar, is starting the year awful, but they made a mistake by putting the rookie in the first line. Columbus putting Fantilli had everybody go, oh my God, but now it's moot point because Liney got nailed. But still, it's like there's preseason, then there's the regular season where the real stuff happens. And Fantilli, third line, second unit of power play, he's still going to produce. You see his speed, because I saw a Columbus game. I think they played Saturday. I saw a game. He had the fastest speed of any player on the ice from both teams, top speed. And then he had the most kilometers skated during the game. It's like this guy is not fast. He's fast. So he's got tons of skills, but Logan Cooley's in a better position because he's on the first power play. He's the go-to. He's on the second line and on the first power play in Arizona.
All right. We have a break coming up here. We've got about 10 more minutes after the break. We want to talk about panel. I'll let you think about this. Your opinion on the Rasmus Andersson suspension of 4 games. We'll get to that after the break, and we'll talk about McDavid's injury and the impact that's going to have on the Oilers over the next couple weeks. Back in 2 minutes' time. All right, we're back, and to end off tonight, we're going to go to Alberta and talk about a couple of the big Alberta stories this week. One up north and one down south. Let's start down south in Calgary. Old man Fred, let me put on screen here the play that earned Rasmus Andersson a 4-game suspension. Empty net, Patrick Laine shooting towards the empty net, and boom. Shot to the head. So the NHLPA is they are appealing that suspension. But what do you think, deserved or not, 4 games for that hit? Give us your opinion.
Well, my opinion is not only did he hit him in the head, but he left his feet when he did it. There were 2 seconds left in the game. They were losing 3-1. I think 4 games. I was just kind of doing a review. It was on Hockey Night in Canada, and as was pointed out by good old Ron McLean, last year Ron McLean was saying last year nobody received more than 3. Now suddenly we have a 4. I think the message has to be sent, and yeah, I know I'm an Oiler fan too, and it doesn't hurt me to see Calgary suffer, but I think if it was Calgary that got hit like this and they were winning 3-1 and there were 2 seconds left, I think the 4 games seems reasonable. It looks very intent. Perhaps if it had happened with, it's a 3-1 game and there were 2 minutes left, maybe it wouldn't have been a 4 game. But given the 2 seconds, the fact that Laine is trying to score into an empty net, I think 4 games is good.
Yeah, I think it was a dirty play. Again, the situation on the ice, game is out of control. 2-goal lead, like you said, just a few seconds left in the game, and for him to come along and he's looking right at him, he's leaning his shoulder down. He's lining up the big hit. And whether he meant to hit him in the head or not, that's not the point. The point is, with 2 seconds left in the game, to pull a play off like that, yeah, I think 4 games minimum. If he got more, I'd be okay with that too. If he got 6, 7, 8 games, situation on the ice.
It's funny because it's like, when, and of course, laptop, you and I were teachers, and kids complained and said, well, let me do a rewrite. And there's a part of me, because I had some kids who did rewrites on tests and they got worse than on the first test. And I know he's appealing, and it wouldn't bother me if he, in his appeal, they say, you're right, 4 games isn't right, we'll give you 6. I know that's not going to happen, but just like the kid who thinks he knows more and ends up doing worse on the second test. But
what bothers me, old man Fred, is the NHLPA is supposed to represent both sides. So here you're protecting the guy that does the hit. What about the guy that got injured?
Well, they never protect that guy, right? It's always who gets the suspension, as far as I'm concerned. So, this doesn't surprise me with any NHLPA.
And they don't care. This is Euro on Euro violence. They don't give a they don't give a crap. So,
Give us the right answer, Frank. What's the right answer? Give us the test answer here. How many games do you think that deserved?
It's gonna end up being 3 because they're gonna want him to be in the showcase on Sunday. But look, you say he might not have aimed for the head. I don't know what body part you're trying to hit when you leave your skin. When you jump off. This is not Theo Fleury, man. He's not like 5'6", if he's leaving his case, Rasmus, he's trying to hit the head. Look, I'm okay with 4. I'm okay with 3. I'm okay with 5. I'm okay, whatever. We'll see how long Liney. I'm sick of these specific games. If you take a guy out for 20 games, well, the suspension should be you'll be back when the player's back. When you injure him, and it's like, oh well, I blew his knee out because I went knee on purpose. Well, if he's out for the year, you're out for the year. Tough luck. Don't do that on purpose next time. Because when somebody's doing something on purpose versus an accident, and that was on purpose. So if he's out for 2 months, well, you just wait. You can practice with the team. Change the rules, practice with the team, but you have to wait till Liney comes back. Period. Every dirty hit, people would think twice before making it. If it's not a set games, if it's like, oh, I only come back, like imagine in the playoffs, you're only coming back when the player's coming back.
All right, let's go up north. Again, running short on time. Up north to Edmonton. Just a season of where everything that could go wrong is going wrong with Edmonton. And we're going to leave the big discussion till next week because it's going to be a longer conversation about, Ken Holland and if he's done things right or not done things right. Let's specifically focus on, the next couple of weeks, the McDavid injury. Sounds like it's 10 days to 2 weeks, which could have been a lot worse. Oh man, Fred, what say you?
I say step up. You know what? Your leader's gone. It's time to, channel your Pittsburgh Penguins. Crosby was gone and a second man up, and Pittsburgh did fine. So let's see if you're real, Draisaitl, as far as I'm concerned. And he has proven in the past, when McDavid's been injured, he has come through. They need something. I'm hoping that time to step up, and it should be everybody. Sucks. Injuries suck. Oh yeah, and he's the best player. Too bad. Suck it up. Let's go. That's how I feel.
Okay. And I guess the most disappointing thing is he's not going to be able to play in the Heritage Classic. Which
they don't know that yet. It's a week, right? So don't be surprised if he has limited time. Perhaps he's a quick healer.
Okay.
Quick healer. So there you go.
All right. Lanky Frank, McDavid situation.
The cap mismanagement is hurting right now because they can't. They're icing a full team. They have only 20. So if anybody else gets injured, like I said, the trainer's going to have a baseball bat and he's going to bash that knee to make sure he goes on long-term IR, just to call somebody up. Sorry, buddy. Pop! So they're in trouble. But what has to happen is Earth to Evander Kane. Please show up. Now he's on the first power play, so he's not going to bitch like he did in game. But that is typical Evander Kane's selfishness. He belongs on the Leafs, He was always a selfish player, a shoot first player. His coaches said, you should pass in this situation. He would tell the coach, fuck off, I'm shooting, because he would shoot 400 times a year. He goes, you have a 0% chance of scoring. I don't care, I'm shooting. I'm just shooting. That's what he was when he was younger. And what he said, like, oh yeah, I fought because I only skated 3 minutes, so what's the point? It's like sitting on the bench or sitting in the penalty box. I took my helmet off because why not? It's like basically a coach doesn't use me, so fuck the coach. And everybody talked about that. So he has 1 point this year, right? So he's got to show up in the next week or two. Like the season has started, buddy. Like wake the hell up. So RNH, he's not going to show up. He's already here, 6 points. Bouchard has to stop with the -5. Like, come on, man. The ice goes both ways. Hopefully it doesn't become the new Tyson Barrie where he only plays one way. Their defense is a mess because they don't have complete players. So like he's got to tighten that up. It's like you're not going to outshoot the opponents right now, so they got to tighten up the ship on defense. So Bouchard's got to use his skills and his speed to play defense more than offense. But we'll see what happens, man. You know, there's no depth because of cap, and Oilers are not in not the only team in that situation. Minnesota's got an injury, and they played short because you got to play short one game and get an emergency call up. Ottawa, Calgary, Vancouver, it's happening all over the league. Because when it's your own fault, you don't get that emergency call up. But once that one game is done, you can call up somebody that does not count on the cap because it's an emergency call up. And then when your player comes back, then boom, he can go back down, and it doesn't count on your cap. So this is capology. But yeah, so look, Evander, you're going to be on the first power play. Stop bitching, start producing. Your team needs you. You know, the goalies, but Campbell is one super bad game, but Skinner, but you know, how much is the goalie versus that defense? You know, Cody Ceci, man. It's like you get that guy, he plays shit for you, and let's give him a contract extension. It's like, wait, what?
Yeah.
You know, it's like he's not a good defenseman. He never has been. So,
and I don't know if you saw the interview Evander Kane did between periods in the last game,
that's
but
the one I'm talking about, where he talked about his fight.
yeah, where he said, "I'm not getting enough ice time, so I figured I would
might
just
as well fight." Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
that's what
might
I'm
as well
talking
fight.
about. That's his selfishness. You know.
-6. He leads the team in worst plus minus at -6 right now. So, like you said, yeah, 1 point selfish. I hope we don't go back to the old Evander Kane. He was doing so well here in Edmonton. I hope it's just short term. And the
But
goalies,
I think you know what, this is his time to shine, right? Like a big chunk of the power play is gone now, and so on. And so Kane's going to get called on, right? You got moved down to the third line. Frank mentioned he's got an ego, and he's not a third line guy. He came in 2 years ago, and he was a hero, and now suddenly he's a third liner. Good God! So I'm hoping that Kane will, bring it. Like Frank said, time to step up as well. There,
Man up,
man up for sure, and quit whining and all that stuff, because that's just bullshit. And let's go. And it's time. Starts tomorrow, right? I mean, there's going to be a hell of a lot of games on tomorrow. I know which ones I'm watching, and yeah, there you go.
What's their upcoming schedule like, Edmonton?
yeah, that's where we're going to go now. That's the last part to our show here now. Looking ahead to the week ahead, I asked you guys to, what's a matchup you're looking forward to? What's kind of a key matchup this early in the season? So Edmonton, just to kind of go off yours, they're playing against where are they here?
Minnesota tomorrow.
Minnesota?
Yeah.
Oh, look, go back up. I said it was starting at 6, but I see 5.
Starts at 6 your time.
There was the wrong time zone. So, okay, so 4 your time is 6 our time.
Yeah.
Okay, so look at that. It's pretty cool. Every 15 minutes. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, so Minnesota. Okay, that's winnable.
They play Minnesota. They play at home to the Rangers on Thursday. And then on Saturday, no games. They play
that classic or whatever outside
on Sunday.
All right, they have 2 winnable games out of 3. So that's my game. I'll start because I haven't started all show and I'm not distracted anymore. So my game of the week is the Heritage Classic, which is back. Technology makes it we can have in October. They had it in the desert last year or the year before, Lake Tahoe or something. There was the lake and there were people on their boats. That's technology with freezing the ice. So they're having it before Halloween. So the first one was the infamous Tuke game, Edmonton against the Habs. It was minus a kabillion. and Jose Theodore put his toque on, the Habs toque on over his helmet, and that lived in infamy. That toque is part of the Hockey Hall of Fame now.
Cool.
Because it was, everybody said, what the hell is he doing? So that will live in infamy. So we're finally getting a Heritage Classic. So that's going to be the game of the week. And it's Calgary against Edmonton. It would be better if both teams were playing well. It's like Toronto, Montreal. It's like you guys are going to have fun with that game. And an outdoor game is always special. I don't care. It even on TV, it feels different, So
my game of the week. I think it's going to be a good. We'll really get to see how Detroit can play against a team like Boston. So next Saturday, Detroit in Boston. That is one I'm looking forward to, just as a good litmus test for the Detroit Red Wings. I know they started off well, but now they have to play a 5-0 Boston team. So that is my matchup of the week. And old man Fred, anything kind of stand out for you here?
Yeah, I'm going to go Leafs. I think you guys, obviously I'm covering the other two. I agree with Frank. I'll certainly be watching the outdoor one. But the Maple Leafs and the Stars, right? Maple Leafs have to go into Dallas. Dallas is a real team. Let's see what you got. And so that will be one that will catch my attention as well.
Yeah, that is the good matchup. And, games I'm not looking forward to, Columbus, Montreal. We can probably turn that one off. All right. Any questions from the chat?
That's a joke. I was reading the comments in the chat because
any questions?
Montreal, Columbus?
Yeah, that's going to be a barn burner, Frank. Can't wait. Can't wait to watch that one.
Fantilli Speed live, man. That's going to be pretty cool.
Colorado, Pittsburgh could be a fun one too. Anytime McKinnon and Crosby, two good friends off the ice, get together, that could be fun.
I'll have a Jimmy's afterwards or whatever. Yeah.
But Pittsburgh's in trouble because of all what you see, the age catching up to players, and we don't know if Ovi it's 9 games without a goal going back to last year, if that's age or just lack of motivation. But Jeff Carter, man, 2-year contract they gave this guy, man, but he cannot follow the game at all. It's painfully obvious watching. He belongs on the 5th line, but they're stuck with his contract. They brought in Eller to be the 3rd line seat, but he can't follow. And Pittsburgh, that's $3.5 million they could have spent elsewhere, and they can't. So they're in big trouble because of that anchor that is Carter. And sometimes it takes one summer, you come back, and boom, he was already having trouble, but his IQ was making him useful. But now he's just lost too many steps, a little bit like PK at the last couple of years, So,
all right, well let's do a little wagering, little friendly wagering on one of the games of the week. The Toronto Dallas score. I'm going to say 3-1 Dallas. I think Dallas wins that game 3-1. So we'll write that down. Old man Fred, what's your prediction in that game?
6-3 Leafs.
Whoa, Leo loves you, a Leaf fan, and Lanky Frank?
5-3 in Dallas.
5-3. Okay.
Dallas has to prove they're cup contenders out west. We still don't know. They played okay, but this is the type of game where they have to show they're for real. So they have to win, Okay. So that's why it's I'm hoping they're for real,
And Boiled Egg thinks it's a stat pattern tomorrow for the Toronto Maple Leafs that could be a lot of points scored for the Toronto Maple Leafs against Washington. It's in Washington though, so you never know.
Well, it doesn't matter. Washington, man, they can't beat Montreal. Come on, man.
All right, well, guys, we have reached our hour mark, and always fun talking. We could go on another hour easily, but we want to keep these to an hour. Next week, we'll have Finn back, and Finn will be geared up to talk about everything Edmonton Oilers. And We have a little treat for you next week. If you live in Canada, you can be part of this too. Go to your local Tim Hortons and pick up a couple of the newly released Tim Horton hockey cards. We're going to each open up a couple packs next week. Go grab a coffee, grab a couple packs, and let's see what we can pull. I know there's some really valuable cards in there, but let's have some fun opening some Tim Horton packs. It's the Canadian thing to do. So, old man Fred, any closing comments?
No. Looking forward to this week, and yeah, it should be a little bit calmer, and my eyes will be on the TV, so it should be be good.
And Lanky Frank.
After tonight, Montreal is 3-1-1. Who would have guessed it?
Yeah.
Not
Frank
me.
Frank is going clubbing. He's going clubbing now to celebrate with all those other Montreal fans with the victory tonight.
And
Thanks,
you know
guys.
who else?
We'll see you next.
Hold on. Do you know who else is 3-1-1 and leading the Metropolitan? Your Tortorella fans.
Yeah, Flyers.
Flyers.
I told you, Frank. I told you it would just be a year later. But yeah, the Philadelphia Flyers right now currently 3-1-1, 7 points. There you go.
This is crazy, just like the Habs. But they're both going to sink last in their division. But still, it's nice to see them after 5 games, each of them, one being third. But Philadelphia is actually leading, and New Jersey wouldn't be in the playoffs today, but they only played 4 games. It's just funny.
Yeah, and Arizona 11th right now in the league. It's kind of weird too. Okay, guys, we're out of here. Thanks, guys, for watching. Boiled Egg, Fussmucker, Leo. I saw Don't Cut the D-Block Dragon in here a little bit earlier. Who else did I miss? I think that pretty much caught most of the people that were in the chat. Have a wonderful day, wonderful night. We'll see you next week. Black Aces NHL podcast. Out.